So hey everybody, thank you so much for taking some time to, out of your busy day and your busy schedule, to tune into this free monthly webinar that I do. I used to do this many years ago, and I did it for a long time, and then I kind of fell out of the habit. And then toward the end of 2015, I decided to pick up the habit and start delivering a free monthly webinar. Now, the webinars we did in January and February were about LinkedIn, and tonight's going to be about LinkedIn also. But as we continue to do this month to month to month, I might change it up from time to time, and I might do something about Twitter. I might do something about relationship marketing. I'll do whatever I feel is going to add value to you and whatever I just feel like doing at the time. So I also wanted to make a really quick comment. For those of you that were on the webinar last month, which was the February complimentary webinar, I listened back to that webinar, and I'm going to start this webinar in a weird way. I'm actually going to apologize. Last month's webinar, I had been running so hard and lack of sleep, and I got a tremendous number of very, very complimentary comments on the webinar last month. So people definitely got value out of it, and people were very kind with me. But when I played that back, I really didn't like my tone. I just didn't like how I was coming across. I think I sounded mean, and I think really I was just tired. That's all it was. So if you were on the webinar last month and you felt that my normal happy-go-lucky, smiley kind of guy wasn't represented last month, I think I was just exhausted. so sorry, and I won't be that way. So today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about LinkedIn status updates. Now, this is a topic that has been extremely profitable for myself and for my clients over the years. Now, if you've seen me talk about this before, hang in there, because I might put some different twists and curves on it tonight that you're not familiar with. But we're going to talk about LinkedIn status updates. And so buckle up, and if you have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. If I do not immediately respond to your question, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I'm juggling multiple screens. I'm juggling the main screen. I'm juggling the chat box. At the end of this webinar, I will leave a few extra minutes to answer questions. And if I have not answered or covered your question by the time we're done, please feel free to retype it in the chat box, okay? So let's talk about LinkedIn status updates. There's some basic things that I typically teach people when we talk about LinkedIn. Now, just as a comment, I've been speaking, training, coaching, and consulting on how to use LinkedIn for over 13 years. I've actually been doing it longer than anybody on earth because I happened to just get on LinkedIn within 60 days of the launch back in 2003. So I've seen a lot of changes and iterations in LinkedIn over the years, so you're getting the most recent and current information, and I'm not showing you a PowerPoint, I'm actually showing you my computer screen. Because I'm a big believer that the worst way in the world to teach somebody how to ride a bike is to show them a PowerPoint presentation on how to ride a bike. But the best way to teach somebody how to ride a bike is put them on the bike. So we're on the bike together. Now, if you've ever been in one of my training programs, whether it's a short one or a long one, or heard me keynote at conference or do a breakout session or anything like that, you've probably heard me say that a lot of what I teach, even though when you're learning it, you might feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant. A lot of the things that I refer to as my principles, my strategies, and my routines are really designed to be implemented in about 15 minutes per day, okay? So understand what I'm about to explain to you slowly, although when I'm doing it slowly, it might feel like, wow, this takes a lot more than 15 minutes a day. It really doesn't. It's no more than 15 minutes per day. So when I get up in the morning, I always teach my clients when they get up in the morning, the first thing you want to do when you get on LinkedIn is, of course, you want to go see who has sent you a LinkedIn invitation. And if you're on this webinar right now and you and I have not connected on LinkedIn, please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation and mention that you were on this free webinar. And because I have almost 23,000 first-degree connections on LinkedIn and about 32 million third-degree, when I accept your LinkedIn invitation, it's going to add over 7 million people to your database. You may or may not fully understand what that means yet, but that's okay. It's an early Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Festivus gift from me. So the first thing I do is I accept my LinkedIn invitations, but we're not going to talk about that right now. The second thing I do is I always post some form of a status update. Now let's talk about why that's important. We all know the saying, out of sight, out of mind. And it's very true, especially in a society like we have now, where people are running so hard and so fast, and attention is at such a premium. So one of the things that I want you to understand is that by posting a status update once a day, maybe twice a day, but once a day is a good start. But by posting a status update on LinkedIn, you are keeping yourself in front of your LinkedIn connections attention. So here we are looking at my LinkedIn homepage, and I can see in my newsfeed, this gentleman, Kyle. The people that show up in your newsfeed are the people that you are first degree connections with on LinkedIn. So I'm seeing Kyle, so obviously he's a first degree connection of mine, which you can see right here. So he clicked the like button on something that somebody else posted. But whether or not I go look at what that is or not, at least I see his face, and he's brought himself to my attention again. So I'm going to suggest that the simple act of posting one LinkedIn status update per day is going to keep you in the minds of a lot of people that you're connected to on LinkedIn. So that's a smart thing to do. Now, let's talk about my 80-20 rule. I have what I call an 80-20 rule, and it's really simple. I'm a big believer that about 80% of anything that you post on any social media site, now right now we're talking about LinkedIn, but if I was talking about Twitter or Facebook or whatever right now, I would be saying the same exact thing. 80% of anything that we post, I believe, should not be about ourselves, our business, our product, or service, for the simple reason that if we talk about ourselves too much, it's a turnoff. It's just literally a turnoff. If you ever go to a networking meeting, right? And I just want to make sure everybody can hear me, because somebody's saying that they're not hearing the audio. So just everybody type in the box and say that you can still hear me. I don't know why you can't hear me, Jacob. So everybody can still hear me. Jacob, check your speakers, but everybody else can hear me. Okay. So if you ever go to a BNI meeting or a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and people mean well, people have good hearts, but because they've not studied professional networking, they tend to talk about themselves a lot, and it tends to be a turnoff. So the challenge that a lot of people don't know is that if somebody talks about themselves too much on LinkedIn, you can literally turn them off. I'll give you an example. If I look at Kyle, and let's pretend for the sake of example that I'm just tired of Kyle talking about himself, I can go over here to this drop-down menu and I can click unfollow. And if I were to click that, this is a relatively new feature on LinkedIn, by the way. If I were to click that, I will never see any status updates from Kyle ever again. Now, he doesn't know that I've done that. He still thinks everybody's seeing all his status updates, but I'm not. So by adopting my 80-20 rule, we're minimizing the likelihood that anybody would ever turn you off. Because really, the only reason they'd probably turn you off is because maybe you're just talking about yourself too much. So the 80-20 rule, if we apply that to a 5-day work week, 80% of 5 is 4. So if you take my 80-20 rule, what I'm really saying is 1 day per week is when you should be talking about yourself, your product, your service, your business, but the other 4, I believe you should not be talking about your product or your service. I believe you should be talking about things that are educational, informational, or inspirational. Now, I'm going to give you examples of all of this here in a moment. So this is really quite simple. What you want to do is you want to be a resource. You want to be the go-to person. See, when I'm kind of known for my social media expertise, for my LinkedIn expertise, for my relationship marketing expertise, for my coaching ability, my things like that I'm kind of known for. But I don't want to be just the coach guy, or I don't want to be just the LinkedIn guy. I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy that when people think, you know what, I'm doing business in Denver, or I'm doing business in Colorado Springs, I'm looking for this type of a person. Kevin is really connected to lots of people. I'll go ask Kev. I want to be the guy, and you should want to be the guy or the gal too, because that increases your business. It increases referrals. You're just more top of mind. So let me give you an example of how I would do this. Is anybody on the call familiar with Google Alerts? If you are, type yes in the chat box. If you're not, type no in the chat box. Google Alerts is a free service that Google will offer you, which is really a gold mine. And let me show you how easy it is to use. And I'm seeing the feedback here. There's a lot of yeses. There's a lot of nos. So watch what I do here. I'm going to open another page. I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to type in Google Alerts. And again, this is a free service that Google offers. So if you don't have a Gmail account, you need to create a free Gmail account in order to use this, but that's easy. And I'm going to go to Google Alerts. Now, when I go to Google Alerts, these are private. Nobody else can see what these are, okay? So right now, you're seeing some of my Google Alerts, but nobody else would ever see this because it's private. So you can see I have 25. Well, number one, I would strongly encourage you to create a Google Alert on your name. Wouldn't it make sense that if somebody was using your name on the internet, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, wouldn't you want to know that? I would want to know that. So I have a Google Alert on my name in quotes, any multiple combination of words you could put in quotes, because now anytime somebody mentions me on the internet, I get an email from Google telling me that. So if I wanted to position myself as somebody that knows something about, let's say, Colorado Springs business, I put in here Colorado Springs business. Google immediately goes out to the internet and starts finding information. So if I create that alert, once I create it, I then alter it. I can choose once a day as it happens, once a week. I'll go with once a day. I want it automatically from anywhere on the internet. I'm going to say I want it in English because I speak English. I want it from anywhere in the world. I want all the results. And now it's going to send me every day, once a day, it's going to send me an update of, and there's the first one. So here's information about Colorado Springs business. So when I say that you want to post educational or inspirational or informational information, you don't have to be Stephen King or Charles Dickens coming up with all this content. There's plenty of content out there. So now I'm being fed all of this content around any keywords, any title, the name of a business, whatever I want. And I could just say corporate data center could be coming to Colorado Springs Southside. I click on the article. It pulls up the article, right? Here it is. I think this might be interesting to people in Colorado Springs, and those are some of the people that I'm looking to create, nurture, and deepen relationships with, or sell to, or get referrals from, or whatever, and watch what I do next. I go back to LinkedIn. I hit share and update, and I type something like, "This is interesting news. A new data center possible on the south side of Colorado Springs." And then I write something like, "I'd love to hear your thoughts." And then I put my little smiley face in there. That's a Kevin thing. So for me, that folks have probably seen me do the smiley thing before. It's kind of my thing. So I put my smile in there, and then I skipped 2 spaces, and then I copied the link from the news article. So let me find the news article. I right-click and copy the link. I go back to LinkedIn, and I paste it in. I give it a second to take. So now it takes. I back out the link so that it's a little cleaner. I check my spelling. This is interesting news. Let's make that an exclamation point. This is interesting news. A new data center possible on the south side of Colorado Springs. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And watch what I'm about to do. I hit share. That just went out into 22,000 people's newsfeed. Now, whether or not they click on the link and read this, or whether they comment or not, at least I'm showing up in their newsfeed. But I'm not showing up in their newsfeed in a buy my product, let me just pester the heck out of you until you finally buy my product kind of way. They're going, "Oh, that's interesting. I probably wouldn't have known that had not Kevin posted it." So this is a good thing. I'm delivering value to my LinkedIn network by posting information that they could find interesting. Now, I'm going to show you before this webinar is over what I do to mine, M-I-N-E, the engagement. And that's really where the gold is. But before we go there, I want to continue to show you some other things that I post. Now, if you wanted to be known as an expert in your industry, it would be very logical that you would think, well, I should probably post something once a day, like Kevin told me to, that positions me as a thought leader or an expert in a particular industry. And I can totally understand where your thinking would come from on that, okay? Here's the interesting thing. I would make a wager with you. I would make a gentleman's bet with you that if you were to post something regarding your industry once a day for 30 days, and you were to add up the likes, the comments, and the shares on those posts at the end of 30 days, and then for the next 30 days, you were to post a motivational quote once per day for 30 days. And you may be listening to me right now saying, Kevin, motivational quotes, what are you talking about? I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not a speaker. Just hang in there. Hear me out. If you were to do that once a day for 30 days, I would bet you, I'll bet you $1, I'll bet you any amount of money you want to bet, that you would actually have far more likes, comments, and shares on the inspirational stuff than you do on the other stuff. Now, that might not make you happy, but it's the truth. And I believe part of the reason why that's true is because people are busy. And most people are stressed out of their gourds. Most people have just way too much stress, and most people are just tired. And we all kind of like it when somebody posts something that's inspirational or motivational, or it's just kind of gives us a little break from just the busyness of it all. So when I give you that 80-20 rule, I already told you that one day a week you should be talking about yourself or your product or your service. I'm saying that maybe one day a week you should be doing something like this, something relative to your local marketplace or something like that, which still leaves you, at least 3 days, at least 2 or 3 days that you could post something inspirational. But Kevin, I'm not a motivational speaker. What would I do? Well, let me show you. It's pretty simple. If I go back to Google and I type into Google motivational quotes, and then I hit images, I'm going to have enough motivational quotes for the next 20 lifetimes, okay? Now, I am in no way suggesting plagiarism, violating anybody's copyright laws, or anything like that. So please do not read that into what I'm saying right now, okay? So let me just look at some of these motivational quotes. So here, let's just say I go to something like, believing in yourself is the first secret to success. So I click on this motivational quote. Okay, now I see that it's got some copyright things, so I'm not going to choose that one. I'm going to find something else. Let's go to something like, the greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot. So here's a complete copyright-free picture. I don't see any copyright infringement here, and I'm not a copyright attorney, but I don't see anything here that's copyright infringement. But watch what I could do. I right-click the picture. I'm going to save the image, and we're just going to call it greatest pleasure. Greatest pleasure. And we're going to say, whoops, hang on a second. Let's do that again. Greatest pleasure. And we're going to save that to my desktop as a JPEG. Okay? And I'm going to hit save. So that just got saved to my computer. Okay? Now, you wake up tomorrow morning and you say, you know what, that tall guy with the big nose and the receding hairline and the face for radio, that Kevin Knebl guy, he told me that I should be posting some kind of an inspirational quote at least, once or twice a week. So you do what I just did. You go to motivational quotes in Google, and you go up here, and you go, instead of hitting share and update, you hit upload a photo. So when I hit upload a photo, I go to my desktop, and I find the greatest pleasure JPEG. And I hit open, and it opens. And now I can write in something like, now, right now, it is what? It's Tuesday evening. So I'm going to write in here, hope you've had a great Tuesday. If not, don't worry. You get a do-over tomorrow. I'll put my little smiley face in there. Let me get my smiley again. Get my smiley face. So here's the message. Hope you've had a great Tuesday. If not, don't worry, you get to do it tomorrow. If I was posting this in the morning, I would probably write something like, good morning, make it a great day unless you have other plans, or something like that, okay? So here, I take this and I hit share. That just went out to 22,000 people. Now, I'll make a prediction based on what I told you a few minutes ago. I'll predict that I get far more likes, comments, and shares on this than I'm going to get on that other thing that I posted about the call center coming to the south side of Colorado Springs. again, the call center post is not a bad post. I'm just looking for it, but I don't see it. It's buried in the newsfeed. It's not a bad post. It's just that most people like inspiring stuff more. Now, I'm an author, so I write things, and I'm a professional speaker, so I'm always coming up with my own kind of quotes. So I'm going to show you kind of how I do that, because a lot of people ask me, Kevin, how do you create those things that you post every day? Well, I'm about to teach you how I do that. And this has been an extremely profitable habit for me over the last 2 years that I've been doing it. So if we go to my newsfeed, my activity, a lot of people don't know this trick. When you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile, to the right of send a message, there's a drop-down menu. And if I go to view recent activity, you can see what I'm doing that's public in nature, which means you're not going to see private messages, but you can see that 7 minutes ago, I posted that data center thing. You can see that 1 minute ago, I posted this thing, okay? And if we go back in time, you can see that I commented on my own picture 44 minutes ago because somebody had given me a good compliment. So just going back in time, I create, because I'm an author, and I'm in no way suggesting that you should be coming up with clever sayings like I do every day, okay? So here, what I do is I use an iPhone, and because I'm a speaker and an author, and I tend to be very creative, as I go through the course of my day, I'm always coming up with interesting quotes, at least I think they're interesting, and I jot them down in my iPhone, okay? Excuse me while I take a sip of my drink. So if you were to ever look at my iPhone in the notes section, you would see thousands of one-liners and two-liners that I come up with that are sitting in my phone. And what I literally do every single morning when I get up in the morning is I open my phone and I pick a one-liner or some little quote, some pithy quote that I've come up with at some point in the past, and I just pick one at random. So on Easter, I saw this one, and here, this is one of my quotes. So I take this quote and I'm going to create this picture, what some people call a meme, but I want to make sure that I brand it for the simple reason that I never know where it's going to go. So if somebody sees this and they like it and they share it, well, if I don't have some way of indicating that it came from me, I mean, they can share it, but nobody's ever going to know that it came from me. So I have my logo, and if you don't have a logo, this might be helpful if I were to show you this. So some of you may be familiar with this, some of you may not. There's a website out there called Fiverr with 2 R's. Fiverr is a global marketplace where people literally all around the world are competing to try and provide services for us. So everything from business copywriting to animation to logo design to whatever. So you could literally have somebody create a logo for you, and even if you don't want a logo, they could just create the very simple LizAnderson.com or JeffHerring.com. I just already happen to have a logo. If you don't have a logo, I guarantee you somebody on Fiverr you'll get all kinds of ideas, and you won't spend a penny until you find one that you want. So just be aware of Fiverr, okay? So what I do is I go to a website, and this is really what I want you to see. I go to a website every morning called shareasimage.com. Now, shareasimage.com is actually a website that is owned by a friend of mine named Adam, who lives in Toronto, Canada. But I want you to know that they're going through a rebranding right now, and Share As Image is actually going away. And sometime in the next day or so, I think, definitely in the next week or so, this is going to be rebranded as Stencil.com, S-T-E-N-C-I-L. I'm sure they'll probably have a redirect or something like that, but just be aware that it's going to be Stencil.com. Now, I pay for an upgraded account or a premium account. I think I pay like $8 or $9 a month for a premium account. It's nothing, folks. But by having a premium account, now I'm not going to have the Share As Image logo in the corner of my pictures. Now I can brand them my own way. So I log into the account. Watch what I do here. When I go into the account, it already recognizes me because I have an account, okay? And I'm not a graphic designer by any means, but even I can do this. And it would only take you a couple of minutes a day to figure this out. So watch what I do. I'm gonna, my friend Liz Anderson is on this call. So I'm gonna use Liz as an example. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna get rid of these words, and I'm gonna type in here Liz Anderson rocks. Okay. Now, when anything I type here goes over here. Now I can move this, and it's got a centering device where I can see the blue line left to right, and it's got a centering up and down. If I want to make that bigger, I can make it bigger, and I can recenter it. If I want to choose a different font, there's a ton of fonts in here, so I can choose the font I want. And here, I'm going to put a black border around the letters. You won't be able to see it so well yet, but you'll see it in a few seconds. And there's my Liz Anderson Rocks. Okay. Then I go to, and I can left center that, I can right center that, so I can center it, so I can do all kinds of things with this, just like a Word document. Then I go to background. Now when I go to background, there are thousands and thousands of pictures and designs that we can do on the background. But because I'm ancient and my kids think I'm a dinosaur, and because my eyes aren't like they were when I was 21 years old, I can't see these pictures as well as I would like to see them. Now, they're categorized by different things like buildings, cities, blah, blah, blah. But what I do is I go to another website that you probably are unaware of called Unsplash.com. Unsplash is a free website. And Unsplash has thousands and thousands of copyright-free and royalty-free, high-quality pictures. So the pictures that Adam is actually embedding into Share as Image, I'm just telling you now that he's getting them from Unsplash. And every week, Unsplash is adding 10 more pictures. And there's collections, and so I can break this down. And there's also a search engine. So if I type in here beach, it's going to pull up all the beach pictures, thousands. If I type in here office, it's going to pull up all the office-related pictures. So if I think that there's a theme to the picture that I'm about to create, wouldn't it make sense for me to go find a picture that I like? If I say I want to have a woman in this picture, woman. So I've got lots of women. If I say I want to have a couple, I've got couples. So this is a database that's gold. It's a gold mine of royalty-free, high-resolution, copyright-free images that you could use. Now, Liz is in marketing, and she's in product design, and she's in printing and marketing material and promotional material. So why don't I just do office just for fun? Just doing this for the sake of time. I've got one eye on the clock. And I'm going to go, and I'm just going to go with one of these pictures. So I'm going to go with, let's say I take, let's just say I take this picture here. I click on the picture, then I hit download, then I right-click Save This, and I'm just going to call this Liz, just for the sake of time. And again, I'm doing this quickly, just because I have to do this quickly because of time parameters. I go back to Share as Image, and instead of using one of these pictures, I'm just going to hit Upload an Image. So when I go to Upload an Image, I get that Liz picture that's on the desktop of my computer now. There's Liz. I open the picture, and it's now going to take that picture and make it the background picture. I hope I didn't confuse everybody with that. It's just, for me, it tends to be a little bit easier than going through all these little itty-bitty tiny thumbnails. So that picture is now going to show up. Give it a second. Hang on. It's thinking, and there's that background picture. So now I can take that Liz Anderson thing, and I could say, okay, let's move that a little bit over here, and let's left center that. Let's just kind of make that work like that. And then I hit logo. Now, my logo's already in here, so I don't have to upload it. But I have two logos. I have one with white letters for Kevin Knebl, and I have one with blue letters for Kevin Knebl, depending upon the background. Some pictures in the background, it looks better with blue, and some pictures it looks better with white. Well, in this picture, I think it looks fine with white. So if I take this and I keep it here, let's just say I kind of put it like right around there, and I look at this picture and I think, you know what, I think that looks good. I hit Save and Share. It's now going to convert that. Give it a second. It's going to convert that to the actual high-resolution picture. And now I hit Download. I'm going to download the high-definition picture. I'm going to call it Liz Anderson Rocks, because she does. I'm going to save it to my desktop as a JPEG. I'm going to save it. And it just saved. So now if I go to the desktop of my computer, let's go find that picture. So if I go to the desktop of my picture, let's find it. Just give me a second to find it. So Liz, and there it is. And here is my Liz Anderson Rocks picture. So I made that look really simple because I've been doing this just about every day for 2 years, but it's really not that hard. If you did this for a couple of minutes a day, after 2 or 3 days, you'd figure out how to do it. Now, when I first started doing this, about 2 years ago, this immediately started to pay off for me. It actually put $30,000 in my pocket in less than 90 days. Would anybody like to hear how using this service put $30,000 in my pocket in less than 90 days? If so, type yes in the chat box. If no, say, don't bore us with that, Kevin. And I'm seeing a couple of yeses. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Okay, so I'm very blessed that my business is 99% by invitation and referral only. And I don't say that to brag. I say that it's really validation of everything I teach. Because I really teach. People think that I teach LinkedIn. Yeah, I guess I do. People think that I teach relationship marketing. Yeah, I guess I do. But because I tend to be somewhat philosophical and self-inquisitive in that way, I can't even begin to tell you how many hotel rooms I've sat in the middle of the night after speaking somewhere in the world, watching ESPN and asking myself, what do I really do for a living? And if you really ask me that question, Kevin, what do you think you do for a living, Kev? Here's actually how I would answer that question. First off, I would not answer the question with, well, yeah, I do, but that's not really what I think I do. What I really do is I teach the art and science of creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships. That's really what I do in a nutshell. And when you're good at creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships, sales and referrals is as easy as falling off a log. That's easy. So the irony, I see a lot of irony in the world because I'm a weird, twisted individual. So I look at the world and I see a lot of people that are trying to grow their businesses. I see a lot of people that are trying to increase their sales. I see a lot of people that are trying to get more clients or referrals or whatever it is they're trying to do. But because God gave me a very simple mind, which I used to think was a liability and I've come to understand is really an asset, because God gave me a simple mind, I just realized that what all those people really need to do is get better at creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships. Because when you get good at that, sales, referrals, business, client acquisition, whatever you want to call it, becomes very, very simple. So for me, I'm always sharing content that I think people would find interesting. And I brand it with my logo because I never know where it's going to go. So when I first started doing this 2 years ago, I'm very blessed that my phone rings almost every day and people say, could you speak at this event, or could you coach me, or could you come train our sales? I got a call today where I got asked to speak at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. Well, my gosh, what a blessing. A company calls you and says, hey, we'll pay you $20,000 to speak for 90 minutes in the Bahamas. I mean, twist my arm, right? So when companies and people call me, I of course ask them, how did you hear of me? And they tell me. So when I first started using this service, within 90 days of starting to use this service, 2 separate organizations said to me, when I asked them, how did you hear of me? They said, oh, I saw a picture that had this little smiley KK thing in the corner, and I wondered what Kevin Knebl, whatever that is, and I went to the website, and we were in the process of looking for a speaker for a conference, and blah, 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 and I had 2 separate organizations hire me at $15,000 a day each, which at that time was my standard daily rate for speaking. And so I had 2 organizations hire me. That's $30,000. But the way that they heard about me was they saw a picture that had my logo in it. Did that make sense, folks? So here, what I do, yes, I post stuff about data centers in Colorado Springs, but a lot of what I post are my pictures. And these are not sales pitches. They're interesting quotes, but they just have my logo in the corner. And people tend to like them a lot, and they share them a lot. So what does this have to do with status updates? Well, it has a lot to do with it, because I showed you earlier, I explained to you that I'm suggesting that you post 1 status update a day. Now, what I do is I post a status update in the morning, and then if I have time later that day, I go and I look at how many people have liked, commented, and shared on it. Now, I'm going to explain that to you in a few moments. If I don't have time that day because I'm on an airplane or whatever, well, then I just look at it the next morning when I'm getting ready to post my next status update. So in your LinkedIn account, if you put your cursor over this icon right up here, this is your notifications icon. So here, I can see who is engaging. Now, engaging is just a $5 word for clicking on the like, comment, or share, okay? So what I do, if you see here 11 minutes, 12 minutes, 21 minutes, 29 minutes, 37 minutes, what I do every morning is I just go back in time to when I see 2D. 2D means 2 days ago. So I want to go back to at least 1 day ago, and just bear with me, because I want to show you how powerful this really is. So now I'm at 1 day ago. Let's keep going back until we hit 2D. When I hit 2D, then I've gone back 48 hours. So hang on. So once I get to 2D, and this is just a combination of algorithms at LinkedIn showing me not only my engagement, but some other people's stuff too. So now we're back at 2D. So I can see that somebody named Janet mentioned my name in a status update. And if I were to click on this, I would go see what that is. I can see that 20 people have clicked the like button on this particular picture, whatever picture that is. And if I clicked on this, it would show me that picture. I can see that, I'm just looking for my own stuff. I can see that this person chose to follow me. Even though she's not a LinkedIn connection of mine, for whatever reason, she decided to follow me, and I can see that, and that's an engagement opportunity. Shouldn't I send her a message and say, hey, Brandy, I noticed that you're following me. Thanks so much. Please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation. I can see that 2 people clicked the like button on this update. So what you're really seeing is I'm getting a tremendous amount of engagement. 19 people on this one. Somebody commented on this one. 2 people commented on, 2 people clicked the like button on this one. So what you're seeing is I'm getting a lot of engagement. Now, I really want you to hear what I'm about to say over the next 5 minutes or so, because if you really hear this, this is going to change your world. And when I say change your world, I'm not over-exaggerating, folks. This has changed my world, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you a question that you have no context to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because I'd be curious to see what the audience thinks. I play on 4 social media platforms. I play on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So those are the 4 platforms that I'm active on. I tend to post a lot of the same content on those same 4, not always the same thing, but a lot of it's the same. Now, a lot of social media experts would tell you that what I'm doing is wrong. And one of the interesting things about social media is most of these people would be right based on their experience and their, whatever. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, okay? But somebody who's not getting paid $15,000 to $25,000 to talk to an hour, and they're going to give me advice on what works and what doesn't work, I'm not going to call them stupid, but I'm just going to nod politely when they talk. But people like to flap their gums. So I learned a long time ago to just nod politely when people talk. But when people tell me things like, Kevin, you shouldn't post the same thing on LinkedIn and Facebook, I don't say this out loud, but in my head I'm thinking, well, you shouldn't be broke. You shouldn't be scrounging for speaking engagements, and I can't keep up with the demand for mine at $15,000 to $25,000 a pop. But I don't say that to them because that would be a real jerky thing to say. So whether you think I should be posting the same content across multiple platforms or not, let's just take that off the table, okay? Here's my question that I want everybody to type in the chat box. When somebody clicks the like, the comment, or the share, which I am now referring to as an engagement opportunity, when somebody clicks like, comment, or share on something that I post on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, I want you to guess how many likes, comments, and shares I get in any 24-hour period across LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I'm adding up all 4 platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I just want you to guess how many likes, comments, or shares I get on a typical 24-hour-a-day period. And let me tell you what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a bajillion. Thank you, Liz. I'm seeing well over 100, 100, 1,000, 1,500, 5,400, 10,000, 100, 600, 80 to 153, 750. So there's numbers all over the board. Let me give you the answer to the question. Here's the answer to the question. On any typical 24-hour-a-day period, and this number is always increasing, by the way, currently I am averaging somewhere between 400 and 1,750 likes, comments, and shares per day. Now that's a lot, okay? Now I want you, the reason I'm asking you this is because what I'm about to teach you, if you really understand what I'm about to teach you for about the next 15 minutes, this is going to fundamentally change your lead generation and your prospecting activity. I was blessed that before becoming an international speaker and all the stuff that I do now, I was blessed that I was the top salesperson in the world for 4 separate organizations. So I kind of know a little bit about sales. Have I done my share of cold calling and smiling and dialing and walking down streets and knocking on doors? I absolutely have. Far more, I would predict, than anybody on this call. I have done cold calling in New Jersey where they eat their young, okay? And I've succeeded at it. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. It's not a lot of fun. So I started figuring out when I started playing with LinkedIn 13 years ago, and again, I'm not that smart. I started saying to myself, wait a minute, what if I post content that people find interesting, insightful, humorous, whatever? If I will post content that people like, whenever somebody clicks the like button on something I post, that would be an engagement opportunity where I could thank them for the like, or I could create some kind of a conversation. Listen very close to what I'm about to say for the next 60 seconds. It's going to sound ridiculously simple, but it's really no more complicated than this. Because I have a simple mind, this is how I think. There's nobody on this call. I'm recording this call, so there's nobody that's ever going to hear this in the future. There's nobody that's ever going to hear this that could prove me wrong in what I'm about to say. There's not a single person listening to my voice right now who has ever brought on a client, closed a deal, got an appointment, gone on a date, had a baby, gotten married. I don't care what it is. There's nobody on this call that's ever done any of those things without first having a conversation with the person with whom they closed the deal or got the referral or whatever. Now, you might be sitting there going, well, duh, Kev. It's really not duh, folks. It's profound in its implications. So what I started figuring out many years ago when I got into sales is I said, if I can get good at creating conversations with people, and please don't read into what I'm saying, creating sales pitches. That's not what I'm saying. If I can get good at creating conversations with people, and I don't jump on them like a pit bull on a mailman, which is what most salespeople do, that's why most salespeople are broke. If I can get good at creating conversations with people, and I get good at nurturing those conversations, the time and place will come for me to talk about my product or my service. Think of it like dating. If you go on a date with somebody, in the first 5 minutes, you're trying to shove your tongue down their throat, unless it's a certain kind of person, you're probably going to get slapped, okay? That's what most salespeople do. Most salespeople have what I call commission breath. They're coming on way too hard and way too fast. Now remember, I know what I'm talking about. I was the top salesperson in the world for 4 companies, but I wasn't the top salesperson for 4 companies because I was coming on hard. I was actually coming on so soft that I would get my prospects to chase me. But that's a conversation for another webinar. Maybe we'll talk about that one next time. So watch what I do. And some of you, those of you that play chess, you know where I'm going with this. When I post my content on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever I'm posting my content, you better believe I'm looking to see who's clicking the like, comment, and share. So let me give you a real world example of exactly what I'm telling you. Let's go to look at my activity. I was teaching this to one of my private coaching clients yesterday. So it works out real good for me to teach this to you now. So I work with a small group of people in a one-to-one private coaching relationship. I can't work with a tremendous number of these people because I'm on the road too much. But I was working with one of my clients yesterday, and I said, let's go look and let's go play around with exactly what I'm teaching you. So we went through my newsfeed, and we found that picture that I posted on Easter, which was this picture here. And I said, okay, I've had 24 people click the like button. So I click on the 24, and now I can see the people that are clicking the like button on my posts. So all I do is I look through to see which of these people look like good prospects for me. Which of these people look like the kind of people that I would like to start a conversation with? Not a sales pitch, a conversation. And a lot of these people are people that would be good people for me to do that with. So I found a guy here named Jimmy Williams. Now, don't be fooled by the first degree thing. You might be hearing me right now and saying, well, all these people are first degree. They already are all good friends of yours. No, they're not. I speak on stages every week all around the world. I tell people to send me LinkedIn invitations. I got 22,000 first degree LinkedIn connections. I don't know all these people. I don't know Jimmy Williams. He's probably some guy that was in an audience that I talked to at some point in the past. So I click on Jimmy Williams and I look at his profile. Lives in Tulsa. He's a financial advisor. I work with a lot of financial advisors. Looks like a good prospect to me. I start looking at his profile. I can see all this information that he's willingly giving me. Football, college baseball, he likes Maui, he likes running, he likes doing speaking. I see he just had a birthday, March 11th. This is called taking a sincere interest. This is why I tell all my audiences, read and study Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is called taking a sincere interest. He's giving me everything I need to know to sell him. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say sell him? I meant create and nurture a relationship. So I can see here all this information, and I say to myself, is this the kind of guy that potentially looks like a good prospect for me? And I say, yeah, I think he does. So then I send him a message. Would you like to see the message that I sent him? Type in yes or type in no into the chat box. I'm going to show it to you either way, but at least now it's interactive, okay? So if we go to my messages, let's go find the message that I sent Jimmy Williams. And Jimmy Williams, for all I know, might be on this webinar. If you are, Jimmy, welcome. We're probably going to end up doing business together, okay? So when I go in here and I go to Jimmy Williams, let me show you the message that I sent him at 8:06 a.m. yesterday morning. Hi, Jimmy. I noticed you recently clicked the like button on my status update. Thanks, I appreciate it. You probably don't know it, but I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. Perhaps I can introduce you to some individuals and or organizations here on LinkedIn who may be good referrals or possible clients for you. If I can open these doors for you, I'd be happy to discuss it with you. I also noticed that you recently had a birthday. I hope it was a great one. Go Broncos. Sorry I had to say that. To your clarity and massive success, Kev. Now, this right here, I'm going to be a little bit strong. In my opinion, this is an IQ test. Let me ask you guys, type in the chat box, how many people in the last week have said something to you like, you know, I'm connected to a lot of people. Perhaps I could introduce some people to you or refer some business to you. Has anybody said that to you in the last week? I'm sorry, did I say last week? I meant since the day you were born. What I'm really teaching you here very quickly, and I have to do it fast because I only have 9 minutes left. I'm not teaching you LinkedIn, folks. I'm teaching you the art and science of creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships, which is what I told you 15 minutes ago is really what I'm teaching. When people work with me, not only do they become really good at LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, but that's just gravy. When people work with me, what they get really good at is they get really good at creating, nurturing, and deepening relationships. Because when you get good at that, sales, referrals, finding your next job, finding your dream job, whatever it is you're looking for. This is going to be a broad statement I'm about to make, but I would stand behind this. I don't care what it is you're looking for in your life. I really don't care. I mean, I love you and I care about you, but I don't care what the specific thing is you're looking for. Almost anything that you're looking for in your life will be enhanced by you having a better understanding of how to create, nurture, and deepen relationships. There's almost no exceptions to that statement, okay? So I send this message to him at 8:06 a.m. yesterday morning, and I'm either going to hear back from him or I'm not. I don't know. I'm not going to lose sleep either way. Well, I heard back from him. I sent this to him at 8:06. I don't know. Maybe he's slow. I heard back from him at 8:07. This is called Jersey sarcasm, okay? Less than 60 seconds later, folks, are you getting this? Is anybody on this webinar right now really absorbing what I'm telling you? Are you getting this? What did it take me? 60 seconds? Kevin, thank you for your generosity. I would be honored to receive referrals for our speaking and wealth management solutions. You have been more helpful than you know. Have a great week. And then I said, thanks for your fast response. Shoot me an email. We'll set up a phone conversation. So here's my point, and I really want people to hear this, okay? If you're sitting there thinking, Kevin, this is deceptive, or Kevin, this is manipulation, you have completely misunderstood what I'm teaching. This would be complete deception and manipulation if I did not really mean this. So when I say that I have a pay-it-forward business model, I am serious as a heart attack, folks, okay? I operate from a pay-it-forward business mentality. It doesn't mean that I'm Mother Teresa or Gandhi or anything like that, but I really do offer to pay it forward. I'm not a doormat. I'm not just going to pay it forward willy-nilly for people for the rest of my life without feeling like perhaps they might want to reciprocate that. I don't necessarily feel like they owe me. So there's more to that we don't have time to get into all the nuances of what I'm talking about. But I really mean this. Don't do this if you don't mean it. Because if you tell people that you're willing to pay it forward and then they find out you're lying, well, that doesn't usually lead to good things. They're probably not going to work with you, and they'll tell all their friends not to work with you. When I say that I have a 99% by invitation and referral only business, I'm not exaggerating, folks. But I'm also, the reason why that is because I'm creating every single day. I'm creating so much good karma in the business world, and what goes around comes around. It doesn't always come around instantly, and don't be fooled. You will get your teeth kicked in by life. You will get screwed, blued, and tattooed a couple of times by people, but that's just life, folks. Deal with it. I know that when I offer to pay it forward, that's not always going to work out, but more than likely it will. But I also know this, and this is what I really want you to hear. I know that the likelihood of Jimmy and I ever doing business together without us first having a conversation is pretty much zero. So if you really understand, pretty simply what I'm doing, I'm using LinkedIn status updates to create interest or people clicking the like, comment, and share, and then I am cherry picking the people that I want to create the conversations with. Do you understand how what I'm teaching you right now is about 180 degrees different than what most people have been taught in terms of traditional marketing? And I don't consider myself a marketing expert. I'm not. I'm really good at sales, and I'm really good at conversations. So all I do is I post stuff, and then I see who hits the like, comment, and share button. And then all I do is I mine the data. I see 9 people click the like button on something that I posted 9 hours ago. I posted this 6 hours ago. I'm averaging more than 1 like per hour at 9. I just go, which of these people could be a good prospect for me? Oh, there's that Jimmy Williams guy. Okay? All I do is I say, which of these people would be a good prospect? And then I just look at their LinkedIn profile, and then I send them a message that is not a thinly veiled sales pitch. Hey, Brian. Hey, Chip. Hey, Pam. Doesn't matter to me. I noticed you clicked the like button on my picture. Thanks so much. You probably don't know it, but I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. Perhaps I'm connected to some people that would be good referrals or clients for you. How would I know if somebody that I'm connected to is a good prospect? If I could ever introduce some people to you, I'd be happy to do so, blah, blah, blah. So really, the business that I'm in, folks, and the business that you're in, but you might not think of it this way, you do the same business. We're in the conversation and relationship business for the simple reason that I'm assuming that you're good at whatever your profession is. If you're not, get good at it, okay? I can't help you with that. Get good at it or change professions, okay? But assuming that you're good at what you do, well, unless you understand that you're never going to succeed without getting good at conversations and relationships, you could be the best person in the world at what you do, but you would be Tom Hanks on an island somewhere with a volleyball named Wilson. So it's really not about, hey, look at me, I've got a bunch of letters after my name. It's how can I always increase my skill at conversations and relationship building? Because just because somebody knows how to use LinkedIn, a person comes to LinkedIn with the same level of communication skills or same lack of level of communication skills that they had before they got on LinkedIn. Here's how I often say it from stage. You might want to write this one down. It doesn't matter how thick the phone book is if your phone skills suck. Let me re-say it. It doesn't matter how thick the phone book is if your phone skills suck, or as it says in the good book, sucketh. So yes, learn how to use LinkedIn, but get better at conversations and relationships. We're just about out of time. Has this been helpful? Type a yes or a no in the chat box. I'm going to take the last minute or two and just make you aware of a couple things that you could take advantage of if you choose to. This is going to sound like a little bit like a sales pitch, okay? But, it is what it is. I gave you a free webinar. Now I get a minute to try and offer you something. If you go to kevinknebl.com, this is my website. If you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, you might want to do that. Plus, you'll get 30 minutes of free LinkedIn tips emailed to you. So subscribe to my newsletter. It typically comes out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays every week. And there's lots of content in there that will help you in your business. It's not a thinly veiled sales pitch. There's content that you can use. If you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, you may want to go to my newsletter archive and just kind of dig through some of my old newsletters and look at them, okay? Because there's a lot of good stuff in there. If you go to my products and coaching page, I have a couple things I want to make you aware of. I have a 4-hour LinkedIn and Twitter training course. This 4-hour course is exactly the same content that people pay me $15,000, $20,000 to get on stage and deliver live. Well, on my website, this is $197, and it's streaming video, so you can watch the videos as many times as you want for the rest of your life. You hit add to cart, you process the credit card, the system will immediately email you your login and password, and you have that content for the rest of your life. A little while back, I recorded a much longer program. It's 17 hours in length, broken into 15 and 20-minute chapters. There's over an hour on a high-level understanding of social selling and relationship marketing, over 9 hours on LinkedIn, 4 hours on Twitter, 3 hours on my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system. This offering is $997. I'm just being frank with you. It's a steal. It's an absolute steal at $1,000 because you can make a tremendous amount of money with this. I also offer some social selling and relationship marketing coaching. If that's of interest to you, email me. We could have a conversation about possibly working together one-on-one. And I also do some coaching outside of social selling and relationship marketing. We call it coaching, life coaching, executive coaching. I help people in a lot of different ways. And if that's ever of interest to you, please feel free to shoot me an email and we can schedule a conversation to talk about that. But I'm going to sweeten the deal. If you go to kevinknebl.com, and I'm going to show you a secret website that you're not allowed to tell anybody. If you go to kevinknebl.com/special offer, it takes that $197 product and it reduces it to $147. And it takes the $997 course and reduces it to $497. So I'm giving you a smoking deal that if you want either of these programs, go to kevinknebl.com/special offer. And this one is $147, which is practically nothing. And a 17-hour program. I'm not aware of any other program anywhere on earth that goes into the detail and the expertise that I go into in my 17-hour program. So for less than $500, you can have that for the rest of your life. You can watch it forever. You get emailed the login and the password. It's streaming video. I update the videos every 6 months, so that's accessible to you. So that's it. Sales pitch is over. That's all. If you have any questions, type them in the chat box now. If you have to jump off the call, it's been great speaking with you. Please let me know if I can ever help you in any way. I'm an email or a phone call away, but I'll answer questions for a few minutes here. If you don't have to jump off the call, don't jump off the call. So let's see what we have here. Thanks so much, Kevin, for your time. Stay safe skiing this weekend. Thank you, Tony. Perhaps we can go to a Starbucks or a Merlot. I would love that, Tony. If you want to figure out how to schedule that, shoot me an email. Ernie Wright brought my program. Ernie, you purchased my program at a Transamerica coaching program in Houston. My wife and children say thank you, and so do I. If you've lost your login or password, please feel free to email me, and I'll have my assistant resend it to you. So when you say you spend 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, do you spend the same amount doing the same thing on all social media? That's a question from Eric Stewart. Yes, Eric, that's exactly what I'm saying. So I spend about 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, 15 minutes a day on Facebook, 15 minutes a day on Twitter, 15 minutes a day. And actually, to answer your question completely in full disclosure, I don't spend 15 minutes a day on Twitter or Instagram. I spend about 2 minutes a day on Twitter or Instagram. I spend more than 15 minutes a day on Facebook because I like Facebook. So I spend more time there. I spend about maybe 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. So if that doesn't answer your question to enough satisfaction, rephrase the question, okay? I don't see any other questions. I see a comment from Greg. You're going to Keystone on Friday. I'm not available to go on Friday, Greg, but I appreciate your asking me that. I have appointments on Friday. Otherwise, I would absolutely go skiing with you on Friday, Greg. I'm just not available on Friday. Alan, you have a couple of questions. You're going to email me. Sounds great, man. Love you too. Eric, that answer sounded good to you. Michael Talbot, excellent. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to participate in this webinar. I do these every month on a different topic every month, whatever I feel like talking about that particular month. Frank, you're digesting all the information. Michael, can you view this again? Email me with that question, Michael, kevin@kevinknebl.com. Would you recommend the same strategy to send from a company page versus a person? That's a really good question, Sarah. That's a very smart question. The high-level answer to that is yes, but there's some nuances. You may want to email me, and we can set up a time to discuss that. Rich, what's the difference between sharing an update and publishing a post? That's a really good question, Rich. There's a significant difference in that. Email me and I'll give you the answer to that question. You're welcome, Laura. Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. Love you, brother. Always informational. Thank you, Liz. Yes, Frank, it is possible for you to view this again. Email me that. And Sherry, if you want to go back and see something from the past, email me. Thank you for everybody's very kind words. Tracy, any suggestions for branding a specific type of business are pretty much the same across the board? I don't consider myself a branding expert, Tracy, but I do have some thoughts on that. So please feel free to shoot me an email. We could discuss it. Consuelo, you're welcome. Cherie, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, I'm going to end the webinar here because I want to be respectful of people's time. Thank you so much, folks. If I can ever help you, call me or email me. I give you my word, I will help you. I hope this has been helpful. And please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, or please feel free to follow me on Facebook. There's always fun stuff going on my Facebook wall. Please, anything you ever want to talk about, I'm a phone call or an email away. God bless. I love you. Have a great day, and I'll catch up with you wherever I catch up with you. Take care, everybody. See ya. Thanks for your attention.